Hello, good morning everyone. I'm Nafisa Noor, ID 1706104. We are introducing you to our project for this course. It is named as Multiplayer Gaming Console using dot matrix. Here is the overview of the whole presentation. Let's jump into the abstracts. Electronic circuitry is the future of our civilization, which is fairly evident from our day-to-day life activities. In our project, we have decided to dive into the modern instrument of new civilization, the microprocessors. The rise of electronics started from our generation. We have seen the rise with our childhood activities as we all have been very fond of video games. The video game which we have achieved to implement was one of our very first video games with slight modulation and diversities. Making our childhood games an IoT based platform is what makes this project more fun and challenge worthy. In our everyday day to day life, we have an inseparable bond between electronic circuitry with everyday appliances now becoming more and more reliable. We know who to thank for that. The rise of electronics, which was the chief motivator in our life from a long time ago, once we began our childhood. Our memory of enjoying childhood remains somewhat around video games, with countless numbers of video games we used to play, such as Tetris, Crazy Cabby, Game Boy, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, etc. All of this combined with our parents' heavy scolding of staying up late to play has turned out to be a huge marketing opportunity. With numerous games still releasing out to be enjoyed not only by little children like we used to be, but as we all grew, the love for video games never ended. This provides a big improvement ground for different gaming platforms and consoles. Every day, newer and newer games are released, being even more sophisticated graphics wise and even with faster computation, so that user can have an even smoother experience that was humanly possible to imagine. However, as we have seen the trend to get back to the roots, as much people want to enjoy gaming, they want to enjoy it even more with our dear and loved one with us. While that's not always possible in our everyday's busy life, we remain closer with Internet of Devices. Okay, from now on, my friend Sheikh Shahriar Hussain will continue.
Thanks Eritrean Officer Noor for handing me over. Now presenting ID 111. Let's move on to the design and methodology of our project. In our design, we planned initially to compete using two-person. This essentially demands a server-client connection, for which we used Arduino Uno for both users. We first used our first-hand experience that we learned from our previous semester course EEE 303 about shift registers and their workflow. The shift register loads the data serially by taking from an input pin, and with every clock cycle, the 8x LED matrix we used are model 788BS and 1088AS. The display 8x is driven by logic high on row pins and logic low on column pins. The Arduino Uno we used is model Atmega 3328P, and both users are connected with a server where Raspberry Pi 4 Model B plays the role of a server. The player individually should drive the car left or right to avoid obstacles. The minimum collision of a user makes him or her first and the other player last in a 2 hour game. The Arduino should be connected to each individual user, and they should send the data from one user to the server and the server to the other user. Thus the server decides from minimum collision who gets to become winner. This was all my part. Now I would like to call my fellow lab mate Ornop to carry on the presentation.
Assalamualaikum, we are group 2. We'll demonstrate, first of all, we'll demonstrate the components of our project. As you can see, these are the two consoles. They both have dot matrix as their display, and both have two buttons for left and right controls. Okay, they both are powered by two Arduinos, and here is our Raspberry Pi. Both of the Arduinos connect to this Raspberry Pi, and this acts as a server, and does bidirectional communication with both consoles. Now we'll demo our project. First, as you can see in this monitor, we'll run a script that is our server script, and we have connected established SSH communication between the server and this laptop. And I will run this code right now. And if you can see the displays, the game has already started. I'm trying to play the game with this console. I'm trying to win here. As you can see, this display is showing a vertical line, and this display is showing a horizontal line. We have programmed it such way the winner gets a vertical line, and the player who have taken the second position gets a horizontal line. As you can see in the SSH communication between the server is also outputting that ACM1 is a winner, and that is the port the player 1 is connected to. Now we are rerunning the script, and we won't play the game, and you will see we'll make a tie between player 1 and player 2. We get the cross symbol when the two players have scored the same, and it's a tie. And the server is also outputting it's a tie.
Thanks, Torno. We have done some analysis and evaluation for our project. There we considered the novelty, the cost analysis, and the consideration of the design and impact of the project, and evaluation and sustainability of this project. Here is the novelty that our project incorporates Raspberry Pi using SSH network frame for using as a server for bidirectional communication between individual user console. The data sent by an user provides a communication with the server. Here Raspberry Pi is used, and the server decides how to judge the player based on the collision outcome. This provides a useful data communication system between users. However, this increases the overall value for users for Raspberry Pi is a novelty itself, being extremely expensive in the market. Here is a glimpse of our project management and cost analysis. We have used some IC, dot matrix, Arduino Uno, Arduino Nano, Raspberry Pi, push button for our users. Here total cost around 14,300 taka. If we consider about our project and design, for cultural and societal needs, there may be contradictory mentalities among different group of people. However, there might be an age factor behind it to have violent revolting reply. For environment, it is only harmful if any electronic device can be properly disposed of. For public health, gaming can be addictive, and any kind of addiction may take up a big chunk of usable time, and thus gross productivity of individual decreases. If we consider the impact of the project, it can modify our societal issue. For example, people get some time for fun and amusement. Although there are some hazardous materials in electronic circuit, by proper management of the circuit like recycle, reuse, and safety can be covered. It can also improve the mental health of the people. They get some time for their amusement. While this is a version of an old game, the author's knowledge, there is no licensed game like this. It is important for our cultural issues. This was the building block for kids to use instruments and play with it. Hence, a child grows with wonder around the world. If we evaluate some sustainability of this project, that it is very sustainable product for society. It can refresh human mind and improve mental health, because amusement is a heaven for people. Not to be contradictory, but there are a number of people who can be very much engrossed into the digital world and tend to be forgetful about the world outside. This eventually makes a man unsocial, which was the case for many teenagers during COVID-19 lockdown period. Unfortunately, our design doesn't have a big impact on environmental cause, and the only way environment can be blessed is if we reduce or reuse or recycle, if we use our usage of electronic media. Now, my teammate will continue further of this project. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shayantakan, ID 1706103. Now it's my turn to describe on teamwork and on light of it my own group mates. We have the group of 5 people in our lab group, which is not a normal case. Nevertheless, I never expected any less from any of my group mates. They didn't disappoint. Everyone in our group chipped in at different times with different ideas and strategies. While not everyone in my group is a coding master, we all shared contributory moments equally. While everyone was not on the coding stage expert, some of us are good at hardwiring, which is the aftermath of a good planning sessions, to be honest. Arno was mostly our coding master. Shanto, being me, helped using the knowledge from EEE 303 about registers and other ICs that we have learned from the previous semester. Also, while Shanta took a different approach to Arnab's, his approach sometimes didn't bear any fruit for us. Sometimes Arnab's plan collided with Shanta's plans, and in any case, they both collided with each other to form a good and fruitful plan for us. After the planning session, Arnav and Shanta, alongside with Shakil, tried hardwiring. Shahryar and Nafisa were the component guys, as we call it. In the movie world, they are called the producers who supply for everything for the movies and build up the big project. The mode of teamwork is the driving force for every one of us. With each and everyone's little encouragement and incentives, we moved forward and finished our project. With different ideas to shine, we had our ups and downs. Nevertheless, as our logbook shows, the landmarks during our projects of when we achieved what. Thank you, everyone. Is there any questions out there?